AITAH, for telling my parents that they deserved to be kicked out of my sister's wedding. Hi all, that post took off a lot more than I thought it would. There was way too many comments for me to respond to, but I tried to read every one of them. I was asked for an update, so here it is. There were a few things that came up repeatedly, so I'll address them first. The pranks only started after I had left and gone to uni. He would say things to Kelly, and I would have a go back at him when we were younger, but it wasn't anything more than that until after I'd left home, so there wasn't anything I could really do to stop it. I did speak to our parents, but they're useless. Second thing was about my kids. I didn't bring my kids around them very much as they didn't like going to my parents' house. They said it was boring and they don't like Mike. However, after all the comments I got about this, I sat them down and asked them again. For my daughter, it really is just that she finds it boring and says that Mike is a weirdo. My son, however, said that he doesn't like being around my dad as he keeps trying to make him play rugby. I've heard these comments and told my dad to drop it, but he would still make the comments occasionally. I had no idea that it was upsetting my son though, so this surprised me. My son doesn't like sports, be it watching or playing. He's very much like his dad in that regard. He's a Pokemon kid, playing online, and goes every Thursday evening to play in a tournament at our local card shop, so rugby is an absolute no-go for him. The third thing was about security at the wedding. I spoke to Kelly and Jake said that 2 of his groomsmen are police officers who are aware of the situation, so that won't be a problem. Lastly, there was a lot of comments about Mike being the golden child. For a bit more backstory, he wasn't really the favorite until his talent in rugby came to light. After that, he was special and had to be treated that way. I think he was seen as mom and dad's way of being special themselves within the family, as they had such a super talented child. Anyway, today, I decided to sit down with my parents and tell them I needed a break from them. When I got there, my dad immediately wanted me to apologize to my mom, but I said that wasn't going to happen. There was a bit of back and forth between him and I, until my mom stepped in and asked why I was there if not to apologize. I told them that I'd spoken to Kelly, and she didn't want them at the wedding at all, that they needed to stay away and respect her decision. They weren't happy but said they wouldn't go where they weren't wanted. I then told them I wanted space until after the wedding, as I couldn't keep being around them and keeping my mouth shut. I thought that space would be good for all of us. My mom wasn't happy and started on about seeing my kids. I told them the truth. My kids hated coming to their house, and told my dad exactly why my son doesn't want to be around him. He got upset by this and said that rugby would be good for him. I shut that down and said I'm not going to force my son to do something he does want to, and something I know he will hate. I also told him that if I hear him mention it around my son again, then he won't see my son again. Right now they will only be seeing my kids at family events, so I'm hoping that it won't be a problem. I then asked them what their long-term plan was with Mike. Are they going to keep things the way they are until they're 90 and mom will still be making all his meals? What happens when they're gone? Who will look after him, because it won't be me? What happens if they get ill? Who will look after them? Mike is incapable. Kelly lives down south and I plan on moving back to my husband's hometown 3 hours away once the kids have left home, so I can't do it. They just looked at me blankly. I really don't think that they had ever even thought about any of that before. I told them they had set Mike up to fail and now they needed to deal with it. I also told them I knew that they were leaving everything to him in their will, but that with how they have bobbied Mike, he would blow through that money in less than a year, and then what? I could see the panic in my mom's eyes when I said that. She either hadn't thought about it or she thought I would look after him, which she now knows isn't gonna happen. I also think she was shocked that I knew about their will. After me telling them what low contact with me was going to look like going forward, and them not being happy about it, I left. Hopefully I've given them a lot to think about. I will check in with them from time to time, but that's all right now. I'm going to visit Kelly in the next couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. My extended family have also backed off after I sent them all a text saying if they were so concerned about my mom, then they could be her support system and deal with Mike the same way Kelly and I have had to for years. Not surprisingly, none of them wanted to. Otherwise, I'm going to just try and get on with things as normal. Thanks for the NTA verdict and all the advice. It opened my eyes to a few things that I'd been brushing off.